In today's standard of wealth, the amount of money owned by today's richest people seem quite unfathomable to achieve. And yet, compared to people who've amassed great wealth in history, the wealth of those among today's richest may seem rather lacking. From ancient kings to industrial monopolists, these massive amounts of wealth claimed through outright power grabbing, territorial domination, inheritance, or through huge business empires made these individuals key figures in history, with wealth one can only dream about. In today's video, we're taking a look at the top 10 richest people in history. Before we get into the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on future uploads. Number 10. Alan Rufus, $194 billion. Also known as Alan the Red, Alan Rufus was the First Lord of Richmond and was the nephew of William the Conqueror, and was his constant companion during the Norman conquest of England, who lived in 1040 to 1093 AD. By 1086, Alan Rufus had become one of the richest and most powerful men of England, next only to King William I. He was the most powerful magnate in East Anglia and Yorkshire, and possessed plenty of property in London, Normandy, and in Brittany. It's been said that he died with £11,000, which amounted to 7% of England's GDP at the time. Those £11,000 would now amount to over $194 billion US. Number 9. Henry Ford, $200+ billion. Henry Ford is one of the most iconic figures in American business history, having founded Ford Motor Company, which revolutionized vehicle manufacturing and provided affordable automobiles to the masses. Over 1 million vehicles were sold by Ford Motor Company in 1920 alone. Ford was also a visionary in his own right, instituting higher wages for workers and implementing his own development of the assembly line technique for mass production, allowing cheaper manufacturing costs that trickled to more affordable products for the people. Aside from revolutionizing transportation in general, he provided the possibility for the average Joe to own their own automobile while amassing quite the wealth in the process. Number 8. Cornelius Vanderbilt, $202 billion. One of the most known names in America, Cornelius Vanderbilt was the epitome of capitalistic ventures, having his own rags to riches story, which he built during his lifetime. He was born to a struggling family in Staten Island, but eventually built his fortune through railroad construction and developing shipping lines during the 1800s. This led Cornelius to a vast fortune, to become the patriarch of one of the wealthiest and most influential families in America. Vanderbilt also improved and expanded America's transportation infrastructure, which led to the transformation of U.S. geography as cities and towns would eventually blossom from nearby Vanderbilt projects. Number 7. Osman Ali Khan, Asad Shah VIII, $230 billion. The last known ruler of the princely state of Hyderabad in India, Mir Osman Ali Khan ascended to the throne in 1911 at only 25 years of age and ruled until 1948 before Hyderabad was annexed by India. Considered among the wealthiest individuals not only of his time but of all time, His Exalted Highness, the Nizam of Hyderabad, was placed on the cover of Time magazine in 1937 as the world's richest person. A benevolent ruler who focused on education, science, and infrastructure, and installed electricity, constructed airports, roads, and railways in the region. Osman Ali Khan established many of the public's institutions we still see operating within the city today. The Nizam had quite the wealth that he used a 185-carat Jacob diamond simply as paperweight. Being the ruler of the state, he had his own mint, along with his vast private treasures of jewels and gold. Number 6. Andrew Carnegie, $337 billion. The key figure in the expansion of the U.S. steel industry in the late 19th century, Scottish-American Andrew Carnegie was an industrialist and philanthropist that still holds a standard today when talking about incredible wealth. When he was just 12 years old, he left his family's one-room house to immigrate to the United States in 1848. From there, he worked his way as a telegrapher and started investing in the railroad industry until his Carnegie Steel Company later merged with J.P. Morgan's U.S. Steel in 1901. U.S. Steel became the largest steel producer at the time and the largest corporation in the world. The last 2 decades of his life, Carnegie would focus on philanthropy, giving away $350 million to charities, foundations, and universities. That amount roughly converts to $5.2 billion in today's money given as donations. Number 5. John D. Rockefeller, $367 billion. The business magnate widely considered as the wealthiest American of all time and the richest man in modern history, John D. Rockefeller grew to prominence as the co-founder of Standard Oil Company. He saw his own wealth rise as kerosene and gasoline grew in the market, controlling 90% of all oil in the United States at the peak of his business career. He had significant interests in shipping, mining, banking, railroads, and other industries as well. He was a key figure in the development of sources of energy and the early petroleum industry, and would later be known for his philanthropic causes as well, such as founding 2 colleges during his lifetime, Rockefeller University and the University of Chicago. Number 4. Mansa Musa I of Mali, $415 billion. The emperor of the Mali Empire, an Islamic West African state, Mansa Musa ascended to the throne as the 10th Mansa in 1312 and would rule for 25 years. One of the wealthiest figures in history, with Mali being the richest producer of gold in the world at the time, Musa had half the world's supply of gold at his control. He would expand his territory during his region, conquering 24 cities and their surrounding districts, and would develop these areas in terms of architecture and industry, which flourished due to Musa's focus on economy, construction, and education. Number 3. King Solomon of Israel, $2.2 trillion. Basing from biblical tradition, King Solomon was the third and last king in the ancient kingdom of Israel, who was particularly known for his wisdom, building accomplishments, and prolific philosophies. It's said that he was born in 1010 BCE, with Solomon being the 10th son of King David, and reigned for 40 years in what is more known as the Golden Age of Israel. Passages from the Bible indicate that the Israelite monarchy gained its highest wealth and splendor during this time, accounting to regular tributes collected which amounted to more than 18 tons of gold per year. Number 2. Caesar Augustus, $4.63 trillion. Caesar Augustus was the first Roman Empire and the founder of the Roman Principate, or the first phase of the Roman Empire. He reigned from 27 BC to 14 AD as emperor. He held a personal fortune equal to 20% of the entire empire's massive wealth, which would amount to trillions in today's conversion. His reign increased the Roman Empire, having successful conquests and annexations of territories such as Pannonia, Noricum, Dalmatia, areas of Africa, and even laying claim to Egypt for a given time. Number 1. Genghis Khan, hundreds of trillions of dollars. Originally named Temujin, who would later be called Genghis Khan, the founder and the first great Khan of the vast Mongol Empire, who united the Mongol tribes under his rule and launched invasions that conquered most of Eurasia, reaching as far west as Poland and Europe. These invasions would amass plenty of spoils, which he distributed among his loyal subjects. His efforts during his own lifetime expanded the Mongol Empire to conquering up to 12 million square miles of land, which in today's value would be in the tremendous hundreds of trillions. So what do you think about these top 10 richest people in history? We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions by commenting down below. And if you enjoyed this video, thumbs up, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on future uploads. Until next time.